Peacemaker is a series that is awesome. I personally really enjoy it. So this show, going into this series, I mean, I loved the Suicide Squad. Thought it was a great movie. Um, and Peacemaker as a character was one very excellent piece of this larger ensemble of weird, stupid, crazy characters. So my thoughts were, how would you take Peacemaker, part of a larger group, and make an entire series about him? The series isn't all about him, though, because, I mean, James Gunn nailed it. This James Gunn is probably one of my favorite directors working today. He has such an eye for, like, working with groups of weird people who are all complete idiots and morons and don't like each other, and just fleshing all of them out in interesting ways. Like, he's done this in all of his movies and TV shows that I've seen, which is the Guardians movies, the Suicide Squad, and now this. And not to mention, he's such a fantastic comedy writer. He's just phenomenal director, phenomenal. And he nailed it with this show. Like, I haven't watched any I haven't really watched any live action DC shows. I watched, like, part of the first season of Legends of Tomorrow, like, 5 or 6 years ago or something. It was on Netflix, and I just was like, hey, I'm gonna watch this. I was like, I don't know how old I was. I don't know. I didn't really, I thought it was fine, but that's like all of the CW Arrowverse stuff that I've seen. I really don't care about any of that because it looks really inconsistent and mostly bad. I might watch Superman and Lois, but I don't care. But this is set in the DCEU, and it was phenomenal. So let's talk about some specifics here. So they got this character of Peacemaker, who ended the Suicide Squad being the guy who just murdered Rick Flag in cold blood and was working secretly with the government. So not the best person, but Gunn found a way to take him, who was this, like, just over-the-top, ridiculous character, and make him actually have an arc, make him seem heartfelt, because it's like, you can see how he got as messed up as he did with his father, which we'll talk about later. And he's just, not only does John Cena absolutely slay the performance here, he is just fantastic playing every single facet of this character, and it doesn't seem like he's playing just himself. Like, he seems like he's playing this over-the-top, violent moron who has no idea what he's doing, but at the same time has, like, a moral compass of sorts, and has, like, a genuinely sad backstory to him. He has emotions that the show really deals with in a very impactful way, in my opinion, and he's just a phenomenal lead for this show. And there are other characters. Vigilante. Vigilante is a character with very, very little depth. In fact, no depth. Not at all. But you know what? It doesn't matter. He's just there to be ridiculous and funny, and he's like a further version of Peacemaker, except he has even less idea what he's doing, and he is sociopathically violent. Like, he has, like, no reaction. Like, when Peacemaker refuses to kill the senator dude and his children and wife, Vigilante's just like, yeah, I'll do it, and just does it with no remorse at all. It's like Todd from Breaking Bad, except stupid and funnier and more agile. I don't know. There are other characters that were introduced in the Suicide Squad, like Harcourt and Economos. They were kind of just there in the Suicide Squad. They were fine, but I really enjoyed seeing Harcourt's softer side because she would, at the beginning of the show, she was this just hardened, tough person who was just not taking any crap from Peacemaker or anyone. And seeing her, like, kind of warm up to the group as a whole, I enjoyed her back and forth with Peacemaker, and I'm glad that they didn't go for, like, a full-on romance with them. Maybe that's where they will go, and I do hope that it's earned, because I feel like if they'd done it in this season, it wouldn't have been that earned, because she was still just not liking him that much halfway through the season, so that was weird. And then there was Economos, and he was very funny. I enjoyed the actor a great deal. He's been in stuff that I have seen, and I enjoyed how his back and forth with Peacemaker, which is very different from Peacemaker and Harcourt, because Economos is just like a buffoon who Peacemaker relentlessly mocks because Economos put his father in jail. I should have said that there were going to be spoilers in this video. I'll do that in the description. So, yes, Economos was a very enjoyable character. And I really, in the finale of the season, I did not expect them to do this, but Economos admitted that he did dye his beard, and then he went into this whole thing about his insecurities and how, like, the joke about him dyeing his beard was, like, at the root of those insecurities. And I believe that that running joke about the dye beard thing was used to comment on the actor who dyed his beard for the role and did it in a reluctant manner. So they decided to put that in as just a little nod to that. That's clever. That's good writing. Anyway, so he was a good character. A new character from the series is Adebayo, Leota Adebayo, who is Amanda Waller's daughter. And she was funny, she was heartfelt, and I did enjoy her relationship with Peacemaker. They were just a really fun pair. She seemed to get him, like, right from the start, when the others really just were like, who is this dude? Why does he have an eagle in the back seat? I mean, she didn't really get that either, but I don't know. It was fun seeing them two interact and seeing her, like, slowly go down to the levels of Harcourt and Myrn. Like, her killing people and being comfortable with that. That was interesting to me. I wouldn't do it myself, but that's just me. Myrn was... I do wish we got more time with Myrn, because he was a very, very cool character. But what we did get of him was really fun. I really like the actor. I think he's funny. Oh, man. I really enjoy this show. And then the final main cast member of the series is Augie Smith, Peacemaker's dad, played by Robert Patrick. This guy. So, with this character, James Gunn was able to create the most irredeemable hunk of garbage of all time. Like, Peacemaker may be able to be a heartfelt character. This guy, no way. He is the most remorseless, I don't even know if that's a word, but he's like the worst human being that you could possibly imagine. And on the one hand, I do wish we kind of got to see more of him, because I gotta admit, Robert Patrick just did such a good job with this performance. I enjoyed the character, while at the same time hating the character and everything that he said. But that scene where Peacemaker just shoots him in the head while he was mocking him, that was just funny. Oh, man. So yeah, he was just a solid villain for this. No, great villain for this series. The other villains were the butterflies, and they were solid. They were fine. I wish they were funnier. Like, they're not that funny, but they're all right. They're not bad villains by any means, but they're okay. And then there are some side characters that were enjoyable, like Jamil the janitor, the Evan and Amber the couple that. Oh my god, this couple was really funny in the first like 3 episodes where they like Peacemaker broke into their apartment and they just started arguing back and forth in such an aggressive manner. They were just hilarious. I wrote Jamil on my notes twice. Jamil the janitor. Interesting. And of course, Judo Master. I really hope we get to see more of him in season 2 because he was a fun character. Yeah, it was cool. And of course, there was Eagly. Eagly rocks. He's just stellar. I really didn't know if he was CGI. He looks like a puppet. Solid. Why do I keep doing that? I don't know. And the team itself, like individually, they're all great, but as a team, they're like banter back and forth. All of it was hilarious, and it felt natural. It felt like real people talking in these outlandish scenarios with butterfly alien things and weird tongue goo and cows that look nothing like cows and peacemakers and eagle. I don't know. And they were really fun together. The comedy of the show, it's such a funny show. I really I just laughed at so many points throughout the series, whether it be with the banter between the team, just gruesome moments of violence, or the like near constant swearing. It was just really funny. And the action, as I just mentioned, kind of, it was so good. It was filmed in a very interesting way. Like, you can see everything that's happening. I love it when action sequences mix cool songs in with the action. And this show does that very well. James Gunn does that very well. Like, his song incorporations into scenes is just top notch. And this show does it very well. The action is brutally violent and gruesome at many points, and it's awesome. I have a dark sense of humor, and I really enjoyed seeing Peacemaker and the rest of the team just kill some of these people in very amusing ways. Oh man. There was the cow. He was a cow. Didn't do much, but it was a cow. It sure was there. Yeah. I feel like I'm spending too much time talking about this cow. I am probably. Anyway, as for like the story overall with the butterfly plotline, well, I don't know if the butterflies were the strongest characters. I think they were set up very well throughout the series, and in addition to like the main kind of plotline of this team coming together, bonding, and being able to work together, the butterfly storyline was also very good. Of course, there was the storyline with Peacemaker and his father, and all of these storylines paid off extremely well, with just this big final battle between Peacemaker and the team and the butterflies. That was just really cool. And I really enjoy it when, like, during an action sequence, like, somebody is about to do something very violent and then somebody tries to talk them out of it, like, hey, I'm going to reason with you here, and then they just do the violent thing anyway. It happened in Book of Boba Fett. It happened here. Speaking of Book of Boba Fett, this show is so much better than the Book of Boba Fett that it's, like, incredible. Like, from my perspective, the Book of Boba Fett had really bad marketing because they put out a couple trailers, a couple TV spots. This show had a couple trailers and like a couple little clips here and there. This show had worse marketing. And it was so much better. It was so much better. The story was done better. Each episode felt like it was like a natural follow-up to the previous episode. The story felt complete, which is none of those things were really the case with the Book of Boba Fett. In some cases, that is. But yeah, I really thought that this show was just fantastic all around. That I did have the butterflies are like my main complaint. They're just not super great villains. They're fine, but they just weren't amazing. There is also the okay. Maybe this isn't a thing, but at one point in one of the last episodes, the last 3, maybe the last 2, Adebayo's wife, Kia, she said that when they were about to go home, she said, "We could just borrow money from my sister." And then I thought, okay, that's a strange line to show in there. To throw in there, excuse me. And then she said, "Let's go back to Gotham." And they never came back to that. If you're gonna give me a Gotham reference, at least give me some background information. Like, does the sister have anything to do with Gotham? Is the sister a character? And what if the sister's Catwoman? What if it's Poison Ivy? What if it's Batgirl? Give me something here. But I don't know. That's just me. Oh, and there were a number of references to the DC universe as a whole. Not the DC Extended Universe, mind you, because the DC Extended Universe is a horribly set up universe, but they talk about Batmite, they talk about Penguin and Riddler and Batman and lots of Batman stuff, and I like Batman. What else? Kite Man exists in the DCEU now. We gotta see him at some point. I need Kite Man to appear in a flashback in something. I don't care. Give me Kite Man. I just read a comic book called it was The War of Jokes and Riddles. It was a Batman comic book where Kite Man was not only a central character, he was actually a good character. He was a well-written character. That's something I never thought I'd say about a guy whose real name is literally Charlie Brown. Kite Man. And as another reference to the DC universe as a whole, there was, of course, the Justice League cameo, which was funny in a number of ways. For one, the thing with the conversation that Aquaman and the Flash had, that was just absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed that. That's the best that those two have ever been. It's sad. I do not think that either one of them has ever been in a good movie. Aquaman is somehow the closest to good that we've gotten from them. And Flash wasn't even in that. Yeah, I saw the Snyder Cut recently. I did not like it. It was boring. I don't really like Zack Snyder as a filmmaker. I don't like the way he does storytelling or characters or slow-mo. But yes, I enjoyed this Justice League more than the actual Justice League. But it was also, the cameo was also funny on the level that Superman and Wonder Woman's faces didn't even appear. Which, I don't know if James Gunn intended to do this, but I personally took that as like, oh, WB, you screwed up with Superman, you fools. Ha. And like, I don't know if is there going to be a Wonder Woman 3? I don't know. There's nothing really planned for Wonder Woman unless she appears in like a cameo. So I'm thinking after Wonder Woman 3, if it even happens, Gal Gadot is probably going to be done with the DCEU. Because as great as she is Wonder Woman, they haven't really given her a ton to do. In her own movie, they did. Every other movie she's been in, I did not like it. She was good. She wasn't the problem. She's great as Wonder Woman, but the movies are bad. That's the issue here. Hopefully Wonder Woman 3 will be good, but yeah. And then Henry Cavill, just, that's completely out the window. Cyborg didn't even appear, which is just weird. And then their Batman didn't appear. Because, like, I believe Batfleck is going to show up in the Flash movie. A movie that I have reservations for. Because, like, as awesome as it's going to be to see Michael Keaton, the story does not look that interesting to me. They can make it interesting, but unless it's going to be like a Batman No Way Home type thing, a movie that I would love to see. Bring back DeVito Penguin, Pfeiffer Catwoman. Not Pfeiffer Catwoman. Well, yeah, Pfeiffer Catwoman, but as like a heroic character. Carrie Riddler, Nicholson Joker, Thurman Poison Ivy. How cool would that be? 4 Batman villains, some of which never got the chance to be good. Give it to me. Come on. I want to see those guys do what Dafoe and Molina did in No Way Home. Come on! That was weirdly tangential. Is that a word? Peacemaker is a show. It is what I am supposed to be talking about right now, but I'm not. And my final comment on Peacemaker as a whole before I close this video out. The intro. It is the best thing I have seen in a very, very long time. I don't even know why they have a skip intro option on HBO Max at this point. At least for this specific show. Deprogram the skip intro thing on HBO Max for this show. I don't know how that works, but whatever. It's such a great intro. For one, the dancing and the choreography is insane. The song is perfect. It's so funny. It's so unexpected. Like, the first time I saw it, I was just blown away, and I was cracking up at the same time because it's so funny. It's so awesome. I have listened to the song Do You Want to Taste It? In fact, that's what I was dancing to before I turned on the camera prior, but yeah, it was playing in my head. Yeah, it's such a good song. Listen to it. It's great. But yeah, the intro blew me away. It's a phenomenal show. It is currently my favorite series that I've seen in 2022 thus far, of which there have only been 3. This, Book of Boba Fett, and The Legend of Vox Machina Season 1, which is on Amazon Prime. Check it out if you enjoy fantasy characters, D&D type stuff with a lot of gore, violence, and profanity. Better than Book of Boba Fett. I don't think it's better than this, but yeah, that was my brief review of The Legend of Vox Machina. And that was my 20-something minute review of Peacemaker. I don't know how much I talked about Peacemaker because I went off on a bunch of tangents, but you know what? Peacemaker is great. Thank you for watching. Keep calm and watch on.